Hello, my name's Tom Palmer, and this is my Read Rugby vlog. Anyway, I am the author of these books. These books, they are the Rugby Academy series, and these three are the characters who are featured in the live story that I'm doing during the Rugby World Cup. This is Woody, this is Rory, and this is Owen, and they're the boys featured in the stories. I wanted to do this vlog to tell you a bit about rugby fiction. There's not a lot of rugby fiction around for children, but there's some. In football, there's loads. There's probably about 10, at least 10 authors writing rugby fiction. For instance, me, Dan Friedman, Alan Gibbons, and also some footballers have written stories as well, like Frank Lampard, David Beckham, Theo Walcott, people like that. But I wanted to tell you about, because the Rugby World Cup's on now, about some fiction. So let's start with Gerard Siggins. Gerard Siggins is an Irish author, and he's written this series. It's the Rugby Spirit series, and it's about a boy called Owen who goes to a new school, and as well as playing rugby and being into rugby, he sort of meets ghosts from the history of Irish rugby, and they sort of help him sort out his own problems, and they help him just become a better rugby player as well. But they're really good stories, and I particularly enjoyed the most recent one, the Rugby Rebel, which goes into the history of Ireland and what happened there 100 years or so ago. And they're good stories, sort of medium length, not illustrated, I don't think. Gerard Siggins is a journalist in the Republic of Ireland, in Dublin, and I would definitely recommend those as a good read. Another series, which I don't have the actual book because I lent them to someone and haven't had them back, but I do have this. This is the cover of a series by Dan Anthony. It's called The Rugby Somethings. I wonder if you can guess what it is. I shall reveal it. It's The Rugby Zombies. And there are 3 books in this series, and basically the first one starts with 3 boys who go into the woods one night in South Wales, and they discover 14 zombies all wearing Wales rugby tops. I think they're Wales rugby tops. It's a while since I read it, but they're really good stories. They're funny, they've got zombies in them, they've got rugby in them, and they're excellent stories about young lads playing rugby and friendship, and I really enjoyed them too. There is a series by an author called Andrew Smith. It's an American-based series, and the first one's called Winger. I've forgotten the name of the second one, but they're sort of for quite older children, so I'd say about 14 and older, whereas these stories, I'd say they were 9 plus, or maybe 8 plus, and these are probably the same as well, actually, like 8 plus roughly. One that I definitely recommend, which is a standalone book called Pride and Penalties by Chris Higgins. This is brilliant. This is about a girl whose dad loves rugby, and her brother plays rugby, and her dad goes to watch her brother play rugby, but she gets into rugby, and her dad doesn't take it seriously and doesn't watch her, and she goes off and plays rugby, and I think he doesn't really approve of it. It's kind of about a girl wanting to do something that she really enjoys, and her dad not taking it seriously until she sort of forces him to take it seriously. It's an excellent story, and obviously Pride and Penalties, it's sort of based loosely around the Pride and Prejudice book by Jane Austen. Anyway, finally, I should tell you a bit about my own. These are the Rugby Academy books about Rory, Woody and Owen, and these are about a group of boys in a rugby team, and they play in the British, the European and the world schools rugby competitions, and they represent a school called Borderlands, which is sort of on the Welsh-English border. 2 of them are English, those 2 are Woody and Rory, and Owen is Welsh, and if you're reading the Rugby World Cup story, you'll know them well already. and it's about them playing in those tournaments. This one's set in England, and this one's set in Toulon in France, where I went to research it, which includes some action inside Toulon's ground, which I was lucky enough to visit. And this one is set in New Zealand. I went to New Zealand to research that, and they're about a rugby team, a boys rugby team, and how they get on in these massive tournaments against Australian and Russian and New Zealand opposition. But they're also about something else. All the children, well, two of the children, these two, have mums and dads in the RAF. Owen doesn't, and a lot of the children in their team do have mums and dads in the RAF. And the three books take place during not an air war. It's sort of where the RAF is getting involved in delivering humanitarian aid to a stricken country, a bit like Syria at the moment. And it's about how those boys feel when their mums and dads are away with the RAF. And I went into schools where children have parents in the forces to find out about their lives while I was researching it. So that's those book, and it does feature those boys. And if you're into collector cards, I'm sorry, this is a shameless advert, you can get, each book has 5 collector cards of all the players in it, so you can collect all 15. Anyway, that's sort of a quick tour of the fiction that you can get around rugby if you want to read it. There's not much else, but they're the good ones that I would recommend, and I've read them all and heartily recommend them. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the World Cup, and I'll do a vlog again soon. Cheers, bye.